Banner Bank presents varsity sports exclusively on Comcast On Demand.
The Lynden Lions bring their undefeated record into Mount Vernon to take on the Bulldogs. It's Lynden and Mount Vernon up next on Varsity Sports. One of the best gyms in the entire state of Washington, the site of the Northwest Conference matchup tonight. Thanks for joining us and welcome to Mount Vernon High School. I'm Chris King for our matchup between the Lynden Lions and the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. Lynden comes into this game with an undefeated record. They're 7-0, even though they kind of had a bit of a slow start or had to deal with the football season as the Lions won the state championship. 5 out of the 8 Lynden players played on that football team, but there was no downtime in between the two seasons. Mount Vernon, on the other hand, they're 5-3 overall. Started off the season 5-1, but their last 2 games they suffered close losses, both by 2 points. These two teams are known for having close games. We'll see if we have another one here tonight. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk with Mount Vernon coach Tori Swanson right after this.
There's definitely one thing we've learned from being in business since 1890, that no matter how complicated things might get, tomorrow morning always comes as scheduled. Banner Bank, connected since 1890.
Welcome back here with Mount Vernon coach Tori Swanson. And coach, your team has lost 2 close games the last 2 games. How do you bounce back from that?
Well, I think we got to test our mental toughness right now. I think with hard work, with determination, we're just trying to get our kids to play 32 minutes of basketball on the offensive and defensive end. So that's the test tonight. If we can play for 32 straight minutes, we got a chance.
And a tough opponent in Lynden, undefeated coming into this game. What do you know about this Lions squad?
Well, they're going to play fantastic defense in the half court. They're going to do a great job of putting pressure on our guards. And offensively, they're really, really solid. They got 5 or 6 guys that can all score. And we got to be ready to play defense for the whole possession every single time.
Thanks for your time, coach, and best of luck.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break when we come back while the starting lineups and tip-off right after this.
Welcome to the world of more. Here in Washington, Comcast now has over 100 HD channels. More movies, more sports, more entertainment, more of the best HD picture quality and surround sound at no extra cost. Plus, more than 1,000 HD shows and movies are available anytime. If you're already watching HD, enjoy these exciting new channels. If you're ready to experience the best HD picture, call 1-800-COMCAST.
Time to take a look at the starting lineups for tonight's game. First, starting with the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. They're coached by Tori Swanson, Michael Akodi, Kelsey Leak, Jake Weber-Cucci, Daniel Barnett, and Chris Chaplin rounding out the lineup for the Bulldogs. And over for the Lions, their starting 5, Andrew Blair, Jake DeWitt, Niles Varner, Blair Bomber, and Ryan Cito, the starting 5 for Lynden.
There's definitely one thing we've learned from being in business since 1890, that no matter how complicated things might get, tomorrow morning always comes as scheduled. Banner Bank, connected since 1890.
Time for tip-off here at Mount Vernon High School, and I have the pleasure to be joined by Ken Tallquist here. Ken Tallquist sitting in for this broadcast, and he knows a lot about this area, a lot about this conference, a longtime assistant coach for Mount Vernon, and then later on the head coach at Oak Harbor and Burlington Edison, and he's here with us today as tip-off goes to Lynden. Ken, any early thoughts on this game?
Well, I think it's going to have to be the shooting of Mount Vernon, and then they're going to have to control the quickness of Lynden. Lynden is a quick, small, quick team, and they're tough because they're a lot of them are football players. But Mount Vernon, you're playing in this gym, it's intimidating, and Mount Vernon's got to shoot the ball well. That's just all it is to it. They got to shoot the ball well.
Lynden coming into this game with that undefeated record. Good move there by Cito. That shot a little bit off the mark, and a quick whistle on the near side, and they're going to call a foul. And that one's going to be on Barnett. And so going to the line is Cito. As you mentioned, this great gym here, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast. The Seattle Times in 2003 ranked it as the #1 gym in the entire state of Washington. And there's no complaints here, no arguments here with that, as this is a classic gym. Cito makes his second, so Lynden starts out with the 1-0 lead.
This is a great gym. It's a great gym that's going to get itself a facelift, I think, at the end of the summer, or at the start of the summer.
And that's something, yeah, they're planning on. A game 4 years ago between these two squads was almost a rainout because they have a leaky roof. They're going to get that fixed, and Mount Vernon answers back. It's Chris Chaplin who makes the first bucket of the game. Mount Vernon with the 2-1 lead. 1 minute into the game here at Mount Vernon High School.
That's something that I think that Mount Vernon does very well. They're very well coached in the fact that what they just did was hedge out of a screen. Watch him, there he goes again. And what you want to do there is you want to make sure the guy can't get to the basket. They do that very well. And then they switch up on different players. Here's another hedge right there, and that's a slip cut.
Pass down low to Cito. Knocked out of his hands initially, got it back. His second effort didn't go. Mount Vernon quickly the other way. Cody with the basketball. Coach Torrey Swanson said before the game he really sets the tempo for this squad. Barnett trying to give himself a little bit of room, create some room, can't make the basket, out of bounds, and will stay with the Bulldogs.
I think they could have got a better shot being a little bit more patient. That 35-second clock gets kids to shoot a little bit quickly, but they got a lot of time. They just want to make sure that they get a good shot.
21 seconds left on the shot clock. Of course, a new addition this year as they reset it as the ball went out of bounds. And from the games I've seen so far, no complaints, as it hasn't really been a big factor, at least in the ones that I've seen.
No, not too many teams have ever held it for 35 seconds, and so the idea that great back cut there by Barnett.
And the foul's called on Lynden.
The idea that the clock was going to speed up the game or whatever, I don't think it was going to change it that much because nobody holds the ball for 35 seconds. It does make kids panic, though, when it gets under 10.
2-1 the score. Mount Vernon with the lead. 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Cody up top, guarded by Blair. Shoots the jumper. That one no good. Rebound by Barnett. He is a rebounding machine. Averages 13 rebounds a game. 6'5", a big guy, but he just has a nose for rebounding the basketball. Up top, there's Leak, and clearly, as you said there, Leak taking one too many steps.
Lynden is doing something quite interesting. They're taking Brady Bomber, Blair Bomber, Brady's brother, Blair Bomber, and putting him on Coochie, thinking that you usually don't see that. You usually don't see the best offensive player guarding the other team's best offensive player.
Blair on the far side, back to Bomber. Bomber, of course, heading to WSU as a wide receiver. Ryan Cito down there working in the low post. He's going to head to Eastern Washington to continue his football career. Another wide receiver. There's actually 4 wide receivers from that state championship team on this Lynden squad. Bomber's three-pointer no good, into the hands of Cito. Varner with a three-point attempt. That one off the iron, and here comes Mount Vernon. Cody gives it back to Chaplin. 2-1 the score early on here. We talked about at the top of the broadcast, even talked to Coach Swanson about it. 2 very tough losses for Mount Vernon. They started the year off 5-1, and then 2 very tough losses to Marysville Pilchuck and Nooksack Valley as Varner comes flying in and grabs the board.
Weber Coochie's going to have to do more to get open because Lynden is saying you are not going to score it. So he's going to have to do something to get himself open.
Cito working along the baseline. That shot no good as he's had some looks, unable to knock any down so far. Weber Coochie, as you were mentioning, he's the leading scorer, as another travel's called, the leading scorer for Mount Vernon. But Nooksack Valley was able to keep him scoreless in that entire game. He averages 15 points a game and couldn't get any points in that last game, the 2-point loss to Nooksack Valley.
Looks like Lynden might have taken a little bit out of that book and decided that that's what they were going to do.
As that was an extremely tough loss for Mount Vernon, as they were ahead by 13 points with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left to go in the game. So the Bulldogs hoping no hangover from that tough loss. As the three-pointers put up by DeWitt, nothing but net. He gets the lead back for Lynden, 4-2. Cody quickly trying to take advantage on the other end. He's fouled by Blair, and he'll head to the line for 2 shots.
That right there might be the signature Mount Vernon kind of move, if you would. They've always had point guards that attacks the basket, that can drive and dish, and they do such a great job of getting the basket, then getting the ball to the right guy. That was a very good move, and he made the right decision in going for the shot.
And he's rewarded with 2 foul shots. Unable to make the first is Mount Vernon down 4-2. Our first substitution of the game, Kenny Packard coming in as Daniel Barnett will step out. Packard only 1 inch shorter, 6'4". As we mentioned before, Barnett, very, very good rebounder. Cody makes his second, makes it 4-3. Bomber over to DeWitt, made that 3-pointer. Can he get one more? That one doesn't go. Great rebound. That shot rattles out. That's Sonny Shopey checking in the game, who missed that last basket for Lynden. Cody down low, looking for Chaplin. He uses the glass, and he gets the lead back for Mount Vernon, 5-4.
Great move inside, nice little shot fake, up and under, well done.
Is the tempo of this game so far making you believe one team has the advantage in the early going?
There's really no pace at all right now. They're just kind of feeling each other out. Nobody's got the upper hand, and who wants to go a little faster or whatever. It's kind of your typical, I think probably typical Mount Vernon Lynden game where both teams are a little bit nervous because it is Mount Vernon, it is Lynden, and so there's really no flow to this game yet. But they'll get one here pretty quick.
And these teams, that's something that Brian Roper, the Lynden coach, said before the game. He said these 2 teams have played each other 5 times over the last 3 years, and all of those games have been decided by 4 points or less.
Doesn't surprise me.
3 minutes left to go in the first quarter. 5-4, the Bulldogs with the lead. Blair up top. His pass barely brought in by Shopey. Blair looking around. The Lions working it around the perimeter. Under 10 seconds left on the shot clock. They're going to have to get something off here quickly. Shopey's shot no good. Board grab by Chaplin.
Shopey's had some very good looks, and if he keeps shooting the ball, I'm sure they're going to fall because he's got some very good looks and he moves well in the post.
Good look down low. There's Chaplin one more time. Chaplin with his 4th point, or excuse me, his 6th point of the game, and the lead now at 3 for Mount Vernon, 7-4.
That was a great pass, a great lob pass right over the top of the defender. Really well done. The shot was easy after that.
3-pointer no good. There's Barnett back in the game to scoop up the board. Mount Vernon starting to pick up some steam here. Cody up top, setting up the offense. A minute 50 left to play in the first quarter. Mount Vernon looking for their first conference win of the year after that tough loss to Nooksack Valley, a 1A school. Looking to pick up the victory here as they're 0-1 in league play. 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Gonna have to be a desperation shot, and it falls for Barnett. How about that?
Little jump hook and off a kind of a whoops pass and basket.
And a timeout is called. Lynden wants the timeout as the Bulldogs out to a 9-4 lead with a minute 27 left to play in the first quarter. Mount Vernon really kind of finding their footing a bit there in the last couple minutes.
Well, they've gotten some very good play out of their point guard, Cody, and he's done a nice job of getting the ball to the right guys and really giving them some fairly easy shots. And then also in one possession, he took it right to the rack and got fouled. So his game right now is what's really carrying the Bulldogs, and Weber Cucci is still struggling to get open. I'm not so sure if we're going to see Bomber stay on Weber Cucci, because you've seen the 2 shots that Bomber has taken, and they've been kind of like not very much in rhythm, not very smooth, and I'm wondering if he's just using a lot of energy to keep Weber Cucci from scoring.
So Lynden looking to get something going on offense. It's not really a lack of shots. They've had some good-looking shots down low.
They've had great shots. Here comes another one.
And here's Cito, another opportunity. Barnett did a good job of not giving up any ground. That one doesn't go. Cody does a nice job of moving the ball up quickly for Mount Vernon, kind of getting Lynden back on their heels. Knapp in the game for Mount Vernon. Jared Knapp seeing his first action. Leak up top, back out to Cody. They're going to try to work it down low again. Good pass over to Leak. The right-hander doesn't fall. The whistle comes in, and that will be on Cito.
That was a very good post-to-post pass, if you will. And again, that's what Mount Vernon does well. They make the right cut at the right time, and Leak got himself a foul, and he goes to the line. This is the same kind of basketball they've been doing for a long, long time. It's just the players are not quite the level that they have been.
Leak misses his first, 9-4, trying to tack on more to that Bulldog lead. 52 seconds remaining in the first quarter. As Barnett takes a seat and Packard comes back into the game. Leak misses both. Board grab by Grooves for Lynden.
Coaches really, really dislike that.
There's a few gray hairs, maybe lose a couple when your guys miss both of their free throws, I'm sure. Blair trying to work it down low to Cito. Another opportunity. That one gets away from him, out of his hands, and Coach Swanson gives the instruction to Cody to slow down. The shot clock turned off, and Mount Vernon looking to hold on for the last shot of the quarter.
Lynden went to a 2-3 zone, tried to change things up a little bit. And, all they're going to do is accomplish is this is going to be the final possession of the quarter, probably.
10 seconds left on the clock. Ayers in the game. Ayers on the far side. Mount Vernon running low on time. They're not going to get a very good look. That ball loose. Knapp one-handed, too much on it. And not a good shot at the end of the quarter, but a very strong quarter for the Bulldogs as they have the 9-4 lead over the undefeated Lynden Lions. We'll take a quick break and come back with all the second quarter action after this.
A complimentary service if we don't solve a routine problem in one visit. A $20 account credit if we're late to an appointment. And a 30-day money-back guarantee on all our services. The new Comcast Customer Guarantee. From all of us to you.
Attention Husky fans. Comcast and the University of Washington bring you select Husky sports on demand. Cheer on your favorite Husky teams at home. Watch replays of women's volleyball, basketball, and gymnastics this season exclusively on Comcast Channel 1 on demand. Catch all the excitement this season with select Husky sports on demand. Available free on Comcast Digital Cable.
Basketball boys game, January 15, when Cedar Woolley comes to the doghouse.
Welcome back for the start of the second quarter as the Bulldogs with a 9-4 lead. And Cody splits the defenders, has an open look on the outside. That disappeared quickly as he loses the basketball. Bomber gets it. Lynden only scoring 4 points in that first quarter, looking to strike quick here. DeWitt, he makes his move. That one knocked away. And Cody off to the races. Loose basketball. Cito comes up with it. And here's Varner. He's got 3 white jerseys in front of him, and he decides to slow it down.
A little bit of sloppy play to start the quarter, just like it was to start the first quarter. Lynden goes to a 2-3 zone trap defensively, and Mount Vernon doesn't handle it well, and then Lynden turns the ball over a couple of times. They just got to calm down a little bit. Great post-to-post there.
Barnett with the interception. Ball gets back in his hand. Great passing between the two big men, Barnett and Chaplin.
That was a really good series for Mount Vernon right there.
So 11-4 the lead now for Mount Vernon. This Lions squad looks a little shell-shocked on offense right now, undefeated on the year. And here they are with only 4 points, and we're over a minute into the second quarter. Varner being guarded closely by Leak. Blair up top to a cutting DeWitt, and he draws the foul.
There's going to be some question about that, but that was a good call. There's no way that Cody had position on that particular play, and it was a good call by the referee. Linden's going to have to just shoot the ball better. It's exactly what I said about Mount Vernon to start the game. Linden's got some great looks, but they haven't made very many shots. I think they only have one basket. They've got to just shoot the ball better, and things will be fine.
Bomber looking for someone. He's running out of time here. Finally gets it into Shopey right off the bench and off the glass as Shopey makes it 11-6. Quickly the other way. Knapp throws it away. Another turnover for the Bulldogs. We'll see if Lynden can pick up some momentum. Threads the needle. There's Shopey. Blair, a risky pass, and it paid off.
Great pass. It's one of those hypocritical passes that a coach, when you make it, you go great passes, and the misses, you put them on the bench.
And he's staying out there for now as Andrew Blair with that pass, getting some momentum for his team. And now back just to a 3-point game. It was 11-4 at one point. Fadeaway three as hitting the deck was Bomber. That one no good. Here comes Mount Vernon.
This 2-3 has changed the pace of the game for Lynden and has confused Mount Vernon a little bit.
And that's something at the end of that Nooksack Valley game. It was going to the zone that really seemed to take Mount Vernon out of rhythm. And a foul called here on Lynden.
Coaches see a lot of film, and I'm sure that Roper has seen film on that Nooksack game and thought, hey, if it works for them, it might work for us. And I'm sure Torrey Swanson did some work on the last couple of days of practice, making sure that we can handle the zone a little bit better. But so far, we haven't seen a lot of that.
Cody back into the game. 11-8 the score, 5:20 left to go. In the second quarter, the Bulldogs with the lead. Weber Cucci again yet to score here, and that's something that for Mount Vernon, he's a big part. He's their leading scorer, and he's gone almost 5 quarters and 5 quarters plus without scoring as a foul is called on the Lions.
Well, Blair Bomber's doing a great job staying with him. He doesn't have any help responsibilities at all. Coach Roper has said, you stay on Weber Cucci, you don't move off him, you don't help side, you don't do anything but make sure that he doesn't get the ball. And you can see why, because he got the ball moving towards the basket. Weber Cucci did, and gets a foul, and now he's shooting at the foul line.
And right as I say that, Weber Cucci scores his first points. The Southpaw makes his second. Gotta be pretty happy if you're Mount Vernon. You're ahead by 5 points after the first quarter again when your leading scorer is unable to score in that first quarter. 13-8 now after the free throws. Down low to DeWitt, kicks it out. Bomber another 3-point attempt. That one short. Loose ball, and Bomber grabs it back for the Lions. Bomber trying to take a Cody. Ball knocked loose. Lynden heads after it. Ball was deflected, so the Lions get it back. Blair thought about the three. He launches it. That one no good. Ball grabbed by Weber Cucci. Cody on the other end looking for the screen from Chaplin.
Lynden back to the 2-3.
The 2-3 zone, what specifically are they trying to do with Mount Vernon here by going to the 2-3 zone?
Well, what they're trying to do is take away the cuts that Mount Vernon gets to the basket with their 2-3 zone. So when they pass the ball and all of a sudden somebody cuts to the basket, that's not going to work anymore because there's a guy in the middle that is just going to plug all that up.
And we saw that multiple times in the first quarter as the shot clock runs out in that 2-3 zone, paying off for the Lions here. What is Mount Vernon going to have to do so they take away those cuts? What are they going to have to do offensively to counter the zone?
Well, now you got to go inside. Now you got to attack gaps. You got to set a screen on the outside guys in the bottom of the zone, making sure that you can pop your shooters out and get a screen on that guy so that you can get a wide open look. You attack gaps. You drive and kick. But mostly what you have to do is, and what I like to do is have our guys read the middle guy. If the middle guy is sticking hard down low, then the high post area is going to be open. If the middle guy's wandering around all over, then you can probably get something inside.
Lynden have a hard time holding on to the basketball. Finally, a three-pointer taken by Varner. No good. An offensive board for Lynden. Another chance, and Mount Vernon finally gets it back. It looked like Lynden was going to lose it 2 or 3 times on that possession.
Lynden is rushing their shots a little bit now. I think they might be getting a little bit frustrated. They certainly aren't shooting well right now. To win 7 games in a row, you got to be a better shooting team than this. And so now they're starting to press a little bit. take shots that they think are good shots. When you're having this kind of trouble, what coaches would like you to do is work down inside. Get the ball inside, take the ball to the basket, get something easy so you can get some confidence again.
3:20 to go in the second quarter. Mount Vernon with a 13-8 lead on Lynden. Lynden only scoring 4 points in that first quarter. Cody up top.
Cito is wandering, sticking a little bit down low, and there's the high post guy right there.
And so Kelsey Leak with the mid-range jumper. Mount Vernon finally able to get something on that zone. Foul called on Mount Vernon. That's something we've seen here. I guess that's the 16 foul for Lynden with 6 now, Mount Vernon with 3. But it seems so far like it hasn't been too many fouls in this game. Relatively clean.
Well, I coached at Mount Vernon and I coached against Mount Vernon. I can tell you I was always more pleased with the referees when we were in this gym when I was coaching at Mount Vernon.
That makes sense, I suppose. I had to think about that one for a second, but that adds up. Varner for a 3, drains it. Niles Varner was the 6th man on this Lynden squad last year, a big part of the team this year with high expectations, and Varner with a 3-pointer makes it a 4-point game, 15-11. 3-pointer here by Weber Cucci trying to answer back. That one doesn't go, but Leak with a great offensive board, second chance, and he gets it.
The difference between those 2 shots that Weber Cucci took was one was just a touch rushed and the other one he had time to set his feet.
And the offensive board set it all up. Great move along the baseline. Varner had the 3-pointer, comes back and gets enough separation to make the easy bucket. He has 5 points on the game now, and his 2 makes it 18-13. His Lions down here with 2 minutes left in the second quarter. That ball just ripped out. The pocket was picked from a Cody. Bomber a little out of control there, and he draws the foul. That dribble went a little high for a second as he was trying to split the 2 Bulldogs.
Well, that was just pure aggression. One of the things that Lynden has that I think is going to help them into the second half is they look and play like a bunch of tough kids. And this kind of thing, probably this kind of lack of shooting ability probably won't get him down. Bomber hasn't come close to making a shot, even a foul shot yet. But I will just say that he's tough enough, hopefully mentally, to stay in the game, get himself something easy, and then get in a flow.
Lynden having some struggles at the free throw line here early in this game, as Bomber able to make that one to make it 18-14.
This 2-3 zone has been very effective for Lynden. Mount Vernon's discombobulated.
That ball nearly thrown away. Mount Vernon barely able to keep it. 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Coach Swanson and his other coaches are almost out in the middle of the court. They're yelling for a timeout. Now he's got a smile on his face. He didn't a second ago.
Well, I think that when you're 3 feet away from the referee, you would assume that they could hear you, but obviously that wasn't the case. And he was either going to have to go up and touch him or something, because that was probably very frustrating for Coach Swanson.
So the timeout, he finally gets it. 1:35 to go in the second quarter. 18-14 the score. Bulldogs in the lead. And Ken, I guess the question I have to ask you, just looking at the league this year, Squalicum, the defending 2A state champs, they've lost a game, but it was against a tough opponent in Bellevue. You're a longtime participant and now observer of this league. What do you take of it? What is your thoughts on the Northwest Conference this year?
Well, I think there's probably 3 teams that really stand out. Squalicum's by far, not by far anymore with Stackhouse not playing, but they're definitely the class of the league. They lost to a very good Bellevue team. Burlington lost to a very good Mount Si team. That's their only loss. And then great play right there.
As Leak knocks down the jumper, 6-point game now as Mount Vernon's lead is 20-14.
And then Meridian, I think, is going to be pretty good.
We saw just going back, we saw both of those games as we have the Burlington Edison Mount Si game as a foul's called on demand. That one you can go check out. And we also have 2 Squalicum games. We have Squalicum versus Vashon Island, the defending 2A and 1A state champs playing. And also Squalicum versus Bellevue, their one loss of the year. We'll spoil it for you, but it's worth checking out to see Aaron Bright, a Stanford recruit for Bellevue, who had an absolutely phenomenal first half as Varner makes his first free throw.
Well, I have, the Squalicum coach is a good friend of mine, Dave Dixon, and He is an excellent, excellent coach. In fact, I would put his coaching ability up against anybody in the state, anytime. He is as complete a coach as there is in the state, I think.
And they, like you said, lost their best player in Keith Stackhouse. But they've been having a very strong season so far. Barnett with the jumper right at the free throw line, knocks it down. And even though Lynden's gone to that zone, Mount Vernon's done a good job of making shots like that.
When you go inside and come back outside, good things happen. Or if you attack gaps and then go outside, good things happen.
Bomber fakes the pass, goes to the glass. Aggressive move, doesn't pay off. 35 seconds left in the first half. There's about a 3-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. So they won't be able to hold it for the very last shot, but it'll be mighty close. Bulldogs with the 22-16 lead.
Lynden's back to man-to-man. I don't know. Mount Vernon's handled it very, very well every single time. Even the last time they scored, Lynden went man-to-man. So I think if I was Coach Roper, I might stick with that zone.
Mount Vernon not waiting as Leak made that bucket with about 10 seconds left. The foul's called with 4.8 seconds left in the half. And Mount Vernon with an 8-point lead right now. I'm sure they have to be mighty happy with that, as kind of daydreaming over there for a second was Weber Cucci. Coach just had to make sure to get back on. Only 4 seconds left in the half for Lynden.
I think that foul was fairly purposeful because they could stop the momentum.
Bomber off balance shot. That one goes out. He shrugs his shoulders in frustration. And as both squads head to the locker room, Mount Vernon with the 24-16 lead at half. We'll take a break and be back with our halftime scoring recap after this.
What does it mean to work with a bank that's been around for more than a century? It means that at day's end, you can rest secure in the knowledge that all is well connected. Banner Bank, connected since 1890.
Welcome back. Time to take a look at our Banner Bank halftime scoring recap. Banner Bank, better ideas, better banking. Well, Mount Vernon, a strong showing in the first half. They're ahead 24-16 over Lynden, and it's been a team effort for Mount Vernon as Chaplin, Barnett, and Leak all have 6 points. And Weber Cucci right behind him with 5. Cody with 1 point himself over for Lynden. They are led by Niles Varner. He has 7 points. Shopey with 4. And DeWitt right behind him with 3. Well, we'll take another timeout. When we come back, we'll have all of the second half action right after this.
This is what you've been waiting for. The world of more is here from Comcast. The fastest fast internet. 50 Mbps download speeds. Faster HD movie downloads. Faster connection for gaming, music, and more. Comcast's new enhanced network, bringing you the best internet experience.
Time to start the second half. Mount Vernon with the 24-16 lead. Lynden will get the basketball. And Ken, what were your thoughts on the first half of that game? It just seemed like Lynden couldn't find any shooting rhythm.
No, they didn't. They didn't shoot the ball at all. I mean, they're lucky to be only down 8 points. Their defense really helped them out. I think that if they can start getting a little bit of luck making baskets, they're going to be just fine. But Mount Vernon did a nice job. They've always have done a nice job of moving the basketball. They struggled a little bit against the zone, and we'll see what happens in the second half.
Bombers three-pointer no good. Bombers taking quite a few shots. Been very close, but close, of course, doesn't count. As that one misses, and down low, a quick pass to Chaplin. He gets fouled, and Chaplin will head to the line.
When you miss a shot, it's always hard to come back into a zone defense, which Lynden just tried to do there. And Cito didn't find anybody. He was just kind of guarding the middle of the floor, and the guy he should have been guarding was standing right behind him.
Chaplin makes his free throw. He now takes the lead as the leading scorer for Mount Vernon. As we mentioned at halftime, 3 guys with 6 points. As a coach, is that put a big smile on your face when you have 3 guys who are your leading scorers at halftime? As long as it's not 2 points apiece, of course.
Well, it would, except one of the scorers, leading scorers, is not your leading scorer, and that's Weber Cucci, and you want to get him going because you know down the line you're going to need him to be confident and be shooting the ball well. Just like Brady Bomber Blair Bomber, I do that every time, is not shooting the ball well, and if he doesn't get started, Lynden's going to be in trouble.
After splitting the free throws there, a 9-point game here. As clock running down, shot clock down to 4 seconds. That one no good. It would have expired, but Barnett, he's a low down there. Gets another board for Mount Vernon. Cody very quickly as he is fouled. It just seems to be, I don't know, sluggish just kind of seems for Lynden, and nothing is falling for him. There's been no chance to really build any confidence on offense.
Well, when you like Bomber just got that foul, and he's getting frustrated now. And even though I said I think he's pretty tough mentally, even the toughest mentally strong kid is going to have a struggle when he misses every single shot.
Blair nearly took that one away from Cody. As again, this is a Mount Vernon squad who've lost their last 2 games by 2 points, including that extremely tough loss where they were ahead by 13 with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left against Nooksack Valley. And that's something that Coach Swanson said before the game. We need to be mentally tough to come back from those losses. Done a good job so far. Weber Cucci, 3-pointer, got it! As Weber Cucci knocks down his second 3-pointer, there he is. The leading scorer warming up a bit.
Well, I'll tell you, if Weber Cucci gets going, it's going to be 2 reasons. One, it's going to be because he starts getting the ball in a rhythm where that he can make a shot. But it's also, if you notice in the first half, Bomber did not let him touch the ball. Now, in the second half, in the first 2 minutes, he had the ball 3 times in one Bulldog possession. That's Bomber getting a little frustrated with, I think, his offense, and he's just probably thinking about that, thinking, I got to get going. And who can blame him? I mean, he scores a lot of points for these guys. He has scored in the past. They count on him, and he's probably feeling like he's letting the whole team down, when in reality what you want him to do is, hey, take it easy, relax. You may not score, but if you keep Weber Cucci from scoring, you're doing your job. He's got to get it back going again on the defensive end and hope that offense comes back to him.
28-16, Mount Vernon's biggest lead of the game. 6:09 remaining in the third quarter. The Lions calling the timeout there. If you're Coach Roper, what are you telling your squad during that timeout?
Well, one of the things is you want to get their feet out of the quicksand a little bit. They came out in the second half, and they've been a little sluggish and moving their feet. Want to tell them we got to get started. I might try pressing Mount Vernon. I mean, I don't, just not to take the ball, but maybe to just try to get them going a little bit.
Blair nearly lost control of that one there. Blair moved over to point guard as Bomber, the shooting guard for this Lions squad. Coming into this year, 5 out of 8 of these guys were on the state championship football team for Lynden, beating West Valley. I think that game's still up on demand if you want to check it out. A long 3-pointer launch by Blair. Did he get it off in time? Yes, he did. Just beating the buzzer. Andrew Blair with a 3-pointer makes it a 9-point game.
Mount Vernon came out in a 2-3 zone that time, keeping real close watch on Bomber. But when you do that, you let other people get open, and Blair just happened to get open and get a good look at a 3 and made it right at the buzzer.
Travel called on Leak that time as Weber Cucci didn't hesitate to pull the trigger. I'm sure if you're Mount Vernon, you probably like that, as that was a pretty good look, just missed. Lynden now down by 9. DeWitt up top, over to Blair, thought about it for a moment.
Just really impressed with the way that Mount Vernon hedges or shows on screens and then rotates on their defensive teamwork. It's just really well done.
Varner missing on the left-handed lane. Weber Cucci in some trouble as he's able to get it out. Over in the corner, the 3-pointer, no good. The big man, Chris Chaplin, big 6'3" guy, taking the long ball out there. That one no good, but it went out of bounds. And so the ball will stay with the Bulldogs.
One of the things that I think our referees have to look at a little bit more is what happens after a shot. I kind of thought that Chaplin got bumped a little bit before he got his feet down, and nothing was called. And I've seen that happen three times now for both teams.
Mount Vernon forced to go back to Chaplin. 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Mount Vernon with the 28-9 lead. Lynden this whole night searching for answers on offense. Knapp going over to his right. Is this Lynden squad undefeated on the year, 7-0. Mount Vernon 5-3. Mount Vernon 0-1 in league play. Lynden 1-0. They beat Lynden Christian in their first league game. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Cody going to his right. That one no good. Out of bounds, and Lynden clamps down on defense.
I'll tell you what, that was a great defensive set by Lynden, but it also was, kind of a unusual look for Mount Vernon. They really didn't run anything there.
Blair guarded by Weber Cucci. They're going to blow the foul on Barnett as him and Cito banging down low. Cito, a guy that we saw in that state championship, so I'm used to seeing him with his helmet on and everything. I didn't realize, as he was a very good receiver for that Lions squad, just how thick he is. He's got some big arms on him. He's a big guy. You'd think looking at him, more of a tight end, maybe even a defensive end at the high school level.
He's one big man, and he had great position there, and he worked it with his body, and that was a fortunate for Mount Vernon. They got a foul there because he was sunk way down.
DeWitt's three-pointer goes in and out. Cito got a hand on it, but Weber Cucci gets it. Be interesting to see where Cito plays at the next level in football. If they'll keep him at wide receiver at Eastern or maybe move him. Three-point look by Knapp. Got it! Nothing but Knapp. Jared Knapp right in front of his bench gives his team the 12-point lead once again.
I think that Coach Roper is going to be a little bit disappointed with that because that's what Knapp does. If he gets that second foot brought around, good cut by Bomber.
Quick jumper by Bomber there, cuts it back to a 10-point game.
If Knapp can get that second foot set, he's going to make almost every shot he takes because he is really, really good shooter.
Surprise for Chaplin, a little present in his hand. Quick left-handed lay-in, and Chaplin scores his 11th point of the game. Mount Vernon strikes back quickly after Bomber's shot, and the foul is on, the foul there was on Shopey. He was the one fouled. They'll go to the line, so all of a sudden a spark of offense.
Things are starting to pick up a little bit. The pace is starting to pick up a little bit. I think that which will help Lynden out a lot because they've got to get the game going a little bit. They've only got 11 more minutes to play, and they are down 12 points. That's not a good place to be.
Shopey makes his first free throw. Blake checks back into the game, and Blake Groves into the game for Lynden. This Lynden squad really doesn't use their bench too much. Only 8 guys listed on their varsity roster. And we've seen pretty much the starting 5 in for the entire game.
Yep, and that's one of the things about high school basketball is that I've always felt that you probably had to have 7 guys. And so in time, they're going to have to get another couple guys because when you play really good teams, you're not going to be able to go with 5.
Shopey misses his second, so still an 11-point lead for Mount Vernon. 2:40 remaining in the third quarter, 33-22. Cody, the field general out here for Mount Vernon, directing his Bulldogs around. As Coach Swanson gave him a lot of praise before the game. 6 seconds left on the shot clock. That ball stripped away by Varner. Here comes Varner. Thinking about pushing it for a second. Grooves with a three-pointer, nails it. A three-pointer by Blake Grooves.
Great possession by Lynden. Very quick possession, quick shot. And they're right back, getting themselves right back in it.
And exactly, quickly back to just an 8-point game. And the 2 big guys battling down low, Shopey and Chaplin. They're going to call the foul on Shopey, his first. Ayers checks back into the game. 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Quick pass into Ayers. Cody making his move to the left. That leaves Leak open. That shot no good. Falls, gets his own rebound, attacks the basket, and gets the lay-in. Great aggressive move there by Kelsey Leak.
Always have said, all coaches know it, all coaches preach it, the best offensive rebounder is the shooter. He knows where the ball's going to go. Great job. Leak was right on top of things.
I think he knew it as soon as he shot it that it was going to be short. And he was right there. That one will stay with the Lions. Both of these teams only their second league game of the year. From here on out, non-league games are in their rearview mirror, as it is all league play right now. And Ken, when you look at your season as coaching in this league and just coaching for so long, getting into league play, what are your goals by the time you get to league play? Do you want to have everything figured out? Do you think you have everything figured out? Is the three-pointer figured out there by Varner? And we're down to a 7-point game. Quick move by Knapp, jukes the defender as Knapp makes the two. So quick scoring here, 9-point game.
The what you want to be is you have all your stuff in, and now you're refining it. You got your lineup set. You've got roles need to be accepted, and roles need to be accepted, and you want to be playing well right now, because this is what gets you to district. It's not what you did in December and end of November. This is what's going to get you to the district tournament, and the only way to get to state is to get to district.
Foul called on the Bulldogs. Blow that one on Chaplin. Andrew Blair back in the game. As Groves takes a seat after hitting that three-pointer. Quick lob into Cito. That one rattles out. Cito and Bomber, another line that comes to mind. Having a lot of shots like that, just missing.
Yeah, those two guys are struggling right now, and they've gotten good shots, and I've always thought that if they just start making them, Lynden's going to do them just fine. But I wondered when that foul was going to get called. It happened Cito fouled him about 7 times, and finally they probably said just enough. Anytime you put two hands on a guy's back, that's a foul. And Cito had his arm bars right there the whole time. 7th
time the charm there is Chaplin and Cito jockeying for a position down low. The two big mooses down there, as that is the 3rd foul on Cito. So here we are with 27 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Cito with 3 fouls. It's about 0.5 of a second difference between the shot clock and the play clock, now down to, the game clock, now down to 16 seconds. 37-28 the score. Bulldogs with the ball and the lead. 8 seconds, Knapp looks to make his move. Over to Weber Cucci, three-pointer no good. Weber Cucci falls down and getting the offensive board. Kelsey Leak once again, as the buzzer goes off. Leak with 2 great hustle plays to end off the 3rd quarter. And Mount Vernon with the 11-point lead, 39-28. We'll take a break. Be back with the 4th quarter after this.
Wow.
As the players take the ice, Comcast On Demand is bringing you more local WHL hockey action than ever before.
Scott for the slot shot, he scores!
This season, you can catch full game replays of the Seattle Thunderbirds in their new arena and the Everett Silvertips in the Comcast Arena. Don't miss a minute of the hard-hitting, high-scoring action this season. Pause, rewind, fast forward, even create your own instant replays. WHL Hockey, available free on demand exclusively on Comcast Digital Cable.
Production assistance provided by GameTapes.com. Get all the action from Washington State basketball and football finals, past and present, on DVD at GameTapes.com. All the action, all the angles, GameTapes.com.
Welcome back for the start of the 4th quarter. Mount Vernon with a 39-28 lead over Lynden. Lynden struggling to score. Their lowest output of the year, 49 points in the first game of the year, a buzzer beater, a non-league game over Ferndale. As a Cody with the quick jumper, that one falls. Mount Vernon really being able to hold off Lynden here. They're making the charge at the late part of the 3rd quarter, now here to start off the 4th quarter. And Mount Vernon with the 13-point advantage.
Mount Vernon has come out of timeouts and the quarters very, very well. They've had a nice idea of what to do and run a good play every single time. That's just good coaching.
Varner loses it, and they're going to say it was last touch by Mount Vernon, as Bomber was halfway over half court. He was turned around, heading the other way, thinking he was on defense. And so Bomber, I guess, with a pleasant surprise there that his team keeps the basketball.
Yeah, that was an unusual call. He just did a spin dribble and threw it to his coach and got it back.
Varner thought about the three-pointer, shook his defender. He draws the foul. Looks like Chaplin is the guilty party that time.
Very good move. Varner went right to the basket right away from the out-of-bounds. The guy who gets open oftentimes on a sideline out-of-bounds play is the guy that throws it in, because you just kind of relax on him. You don't guard him, and that's what happened. Bam, he gets the ball back, goes right to the basket, and gets fouled.
Varner with 10 points on the game. He's got 2 3-pointers, as he is the leading scorer for this Lynden squad. 10 of their 28 points. Able to make the second of his free throws. Back to a 12-point lead for the Bulldogs. Leak doing such a great job at the end of the third quarter. We really didn't get a chance to talk about it there. That final play, Leak once again came up, grabbing the rebound. The quick offensive board, able to score right after.
He showed hustle from the get-go, and another basket by Leak. He showed some great hustle from the very start of the game, and it's now starting to pay off for him. He seems to be a kind of kid, and I don't know him at all, but he seems like he's in really good shape because he's just a little faster than everybody else out there right now.
Leak with 12 points on the game. He leads all scorers. Bomber trying to make a move to his left. Off-balance shot. Cody even got a hand on that. Probably an ill-advised shot, too. Cody fouled on the other way, and that's Bomber looking like he was just trying to overcompensate after a bad shot.
Blair Bomber's frustrated that he tried to create a shot for himself. He didn't get anything going. He still tried to get it up there. Coach is doing a smart thing, taking a little bit of a timeout, trying to relax. They've got one more time that they can make a run here. If they can get a run here in the next 3 minutes, they're going to be fine. Otherwise, it's going to be a struggle. So that was a great timeout by Roper. He wants to settle his guys down. He wants to tell them that we're still in this. At some point in time, those shots are going to fall. He wants to calm Blair Bomber down. That was a silly shot, silly foul. Calm him down. Say, hey, things can turn around right now. If you go out there and play, you can still win this thing. But they only got about 3 minutes.
A 14-point game right now, 43-29. As Mount Vernon playing very solid throughout this game. Lynden, just go back to that first quarter. It was 9-4 was the score after the first quarter. The Lions a little off tonight. As Mount Vernon, of course, a 3A squad. Lynden, a 2A squad. 5 teams from 2A will advance on to the district playoffs. Last year, this Lynden squad finished 11-9 and failed to make districts. A disappointment there in Lynden, obviously a very strong program. Mount Vernon, on the other hand, they finished first in a 3A standing in the Northwest Conference. Only 3 teams, so not that many to compete with. They reached the 3A district tournament but did not advance on to state last year.
And I think 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago that Lynden won the state title, AA title?
07. So let's see where it's 3. Time's flying by here.
They have a bit of a reputation up at Lynden. I mean, they've got a lot of state championship banners up on their wall.
Cody able to draw the foul. He hit the deck pretty hard, bounces right back up. He's got a nice quick step, nice burst.
He's a quick little kid. That's a nice. He has a nice game. He gets the ball to the right people. He does, good things happen when he has the ball in his hands. One of the things that I think that Lynden's suffering from here, and I don't know, I having not seen them play here for a while, even though the crowd is not that big and it's not kind of the same atmosphere as they've had probably for when both teams were vying for state championships, it's still Mount Vernon. It's still a hard place to play. That band is still loud. This crowd, this student crowd is still a little bit intimidating. So that might be playing a little bit in Mount Vernon's favor and against Lynden.
This crowd, a very strong student section. We haven't even mentioned that. We have the band here, and they take the third quarter off. They've now reassembled, back ready to go. But very strong student section here for Mount Vernon. Always tough to have on the road as the foul's called. Blair will head to the line of correction. DeWitt will head to the line for 2. So 45-29 now the score in favor of Mount Vernon. And you've got to be really encouraged if you're Mount Vernon. You're coming off those 2 close losses, especially that last one against Nooksack Valley. And you have an undefeated team coming in to your house here.
There's no question that Torrey Swanson got these guys ready to play. Whatever he did got their attention. I'm sure they were embarrassed about the Nooksack game, and he got their attention, and here they are playing a very, very good basketball game.
Quick three-pointer from Chaplin. He falls back. That one no good. That's the second or third time we've seen someone fall down after a three-pointer. I don't know, hit down that time if there was contact, but no whistle as that shot rejected. Varner wanted the foul call. He didn't get it.
He needs to be pretty careful. You can't make that kind of a gesture to a referee and expect not to get technical, teed up.
Lobbying a little too hard there probably after after the call. 5.5 minutes to go in the game. Varner, quick three-pointer, got it. Varner makes it a 12-point game with his three-pointer. Lynden running short on time. If they're going to make a push, they need to start now.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Mount Vernon keeps taking a quick shot, and they haven't done it now they're trying to work a little clock, and that's good. But if they don't want to take quick shots anymore, just because they've got control of this game, and that's what's going to have to happen. Lynden will foul you.
As a Cody was fouled there. Very aggressive foul on Andrew Blair, and I think you just see that frustration from Lynden. We've seen that a little bit from Bomber, and we're seeing it there from Blair's. He got an extra word given to him by the official.
I think that was good officiating right there. In a game like this, there's no question that Linden's got to be frustrated. And so you could do something quite silly, that could have been an intentional foul.
And Cody makes his second timeout by Mount Vernon.
Good timeout by Torrey Swanson, letting Lynden calm down a little bit, letting his players calm down a little bit. Good refereeing, kind of so to keep the game in control. I think things will be okay when they come back out.
4:57 left to go in the fourth quarter. Mount Vernon 13-point lead, 46-33. Something we touched on earlier in the broadcast was, of course, this great gym, but the gym improvements. And just to give you an idea, they got a $3.9 million federal bond, $4.5 million of state matching funds, and they're going to repair the roof, stabilize the walls, and then they're going to have kind of anti-earthquake damage proof it. I guess that didn't make much sense there, but they're going to replace the lower wooden bleachers and then replace the main gym floor here. How's that floor out there? Does it need to be replaced?
Yeah, it does. It's needed to be replaced for a lot of years. There's a few spots where the ball doesn't come up quite straight.
And of course, with all the renovations, the Hall of Fame will be intact as well. Varner with an open look for three. That one doesn't fall. Cito back up. They're going to call a foul. Right behind him was Weber Cucci. I know you're up there on that Wall of Fame. I was looking for you around there earlier. As Coach Torrey Swanson here, another guy a guy who played at Mount Vernon, came back and is now the head coach.
Torrey and I go way back. When Torrey was in the fourth grade, he and I won the Cardinal Hoop Camp Championship in the summer basketball camp. I had a great offense. I told all the other fourth graders, hey, give the ball to Torrey and get out of the way.
That sounds like a genius plan as Cito makes both of his free throws. And here he is, all grown up, leading his Bulldogs. He's been the head coach at Mount Vernon for at least 5-6 years, right?
Yep, he came back, and he's such a very, very smart young man, and he cares a lot about Mount Vernon. He cares a lot about basketball at Mount Vernon, and he's just a really, really very, very conscientious person.
Here comes Lynden. Bomber loses control, able to draw the foul as he was reckless a little bit there on that drive. Fortunately bailed out by the foul call, so updating you on the foul totals. Both teams with 17 fouls now with 4 minutes to go in the game. 11-point game, 46-35. And Bomber will be at the line for 1-1.
There is goodness gracious, that poor kid is just struggling.
And I don't think either team really knew it was 1-1. A little slow to get the board. Lynden gets it back. DeWitt's jumper, that one spot on. And it's a 9-point game, so kind of quietly here, Lynden chopping into that lead of Mount Vernon.
Here they go back in the 2-3. They're going to trap the ball, trying to make some things happen. Mount Vernon's just got to keep moving the ball like that. They got to make lay-ins, though.
Shot no good by Leak. He's made that shot today. That's the look they wanted. just couldn't finish it off. DeWitt's three-pointer, that one's short right there for the board. Barnett.
Great block out by the Mount Vernon players. I know Barnett got the rebound, but everybody else did their job sealing the Lynden players off. Whoa, that was a very scary pass.
Cody in the middle to Leak. 18 seconds left on the shot clock. That's a good move over to Weber Cucci. That three-pointer no good. And a foul is called. And this one's going to be on Mount Vernon. It looked like an unnecessary foul. And it's going to be 1-1. I'm not sure if they called that on Barnett. It looked like it was who was in front of him, which I think was
Varner.
Yeah, well, there was two Bulldogs there is what I was getting at. There were two Bulldogs, and the ball ended up getting in the hands of Barnett. And the foul was called on the Bulldog, whoever it was that was closer to the hoop.
Well, I think the foul was actually called on Barnett, and that was his 5th foul. And he might not have been the Bulldog that hit Varner, but somebody hit Varner, and Varner did a great job of acting a little bit. And what the Bulldogs got to be a little bit careful about is Lynden is trying to get him to get going, get all excited. Let's get them all flustered. Let's get them going. Let's get them doing things like that.
Knapp's three-pointer no good.
There's no reason to shoot that shot with 23 seconds on the clock or whatever it was. You want to stay as calm as you possibly can if you're Mount Vernon, and what Lynden's doing is just perfect. They are getting the Mount Vernon Bulldogs just frazzled with their 2-3 trap.
So Barnett fouled out of the game now. He is out. 5 fouls. Varner with a three-point look. That one no good. Had a hand in his face on the release. Second opportunity this time. That one rolls out. That's been the story of this game. Those missed shots and the free throw woes, too, of Lynden.
Well, you know, there is nothing you can do when the lid's on like that. I applaud Cito. I don't know how many points he has. I don't know. He's got a slew of rebounds, but he has missed a lot of shots, but he just keeps working and working and working. Varner missed a lot of shots, but he keeps working and working and working. When the lid's on, there's just nothing you can do.
Groves checks back into the game. Knapp at the line. 2:26 to go in the game. Mount Vernon with the 46-37 lead, so that's 3 times between the two squads that they've had a chance at 1-1, and they've missed it every single time. Good pass into DeWitt. Can he finish? That one falls. Quick timeout by Coach Roper, and it is 46-39. 2 minutes and 13 seconds left to go.
Well, obviously what Lynden has accomplished is exactly what they want to accomplish. Let's put a little doubt in Mount Vernon. That happened the last time they played. Let's put a little doubt in them that they can't finish games, and that's what's happened. Whatever Lynden does here, they're going to want Mount Vernon to shoot the ball in 12 to 14 seconds. They don't need to foul. They just got to keep playing hard. And Mount Vernon wants to do is they want to get themselves a great, great shot. So whatever play they have that can get them an open shot from 3, 4, 5 feet away with one of their better shooters, that's what you want to do. You may not get it, you may not make it, but that's exactly what you want to do. You want to take the shot that you know you're going to make.
Again, it's worth mentioning Mount Vernon has lost their last 2 games by 2 points, and that last one against Nooksack Valley, they had a 13-point lead with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left to go in the game. That's right about where they were, maybe not that much, but it was a double-digit lead with 3 minutes left to go. And they lost that game, and an offensive foul is called on Leak. So Mount Vernon, you got to think the doubt's starting to creep into the back of their mind. We'll see if Lynden can feed off this like you were saying.
Yeah, and now we're going, Roper's going offense for defense. He's putting his better defensive players in when he can, and now he's got his better offensive players in.
A minute 55 to go in the game, 46-39. Mount Vernon trying to hold on for their first league win of the year. Lynden trying to keep their record unblemished, undefeated. Quick shot missed. Here's Mount Vernon.
It was a great shot by Lynden. I think that Groves took that last shot. Oh, excuse me, that wasn't Groves. It was DeWitt took the last shot, and it was a great shot, but once again didn't fall. They come back down, have to foul now. you know, 97 seconds left. You got to make sure that you can get a lot of possessions because it's 7 points. It's a 4-possession game. That's a lot of possessions, and you got to make them happen quickly, and you only have 97 seconds. So they're going to foul from here on in.
Foul on Groves that time, a pretty clear foul, so it's another 1-and-1 situation. Everyone has struggled with them so far. We'll see if Leak can turn that around. He makes his first, and that's good to see for Leak, just considering in that last game he had 11 points, and he drew a foul with 0.2 of a second left, and he missed his first free throw, and then he missed the second on purpose as they ended up losing it by 2. So he misses the second there, rebound by Varner.
One of the things he's got to do is he's got to shoot the ball up in the air a little bit more. He was finally, Cito, nicely done.
And good pass down to Cito, too. Makes it a 6-point game, 47-41. A minute 20 to go. Chaplin's pass to Leak. Back out to a Cody. 25 seconds left on the shot clock. They're really bringing that Mount Vernon offense way back, way away from the basket. Trying to bang it up close. There it is. Good pass to Chaplin. He finishes with the lay-in, and a timeout's called by Mount Vernon.
That was a great set by Mount Vernon. They did a nice job of moving the basketball. They moved the ball before the trap came, and then they hit a cutter cutting through. And again, it's Mount Vernon basketball. They're moving the ball on the outside, and all of a sudden somebody makes a back cut to the basket. Bam, ball's in his hands, laying. Really good set right there. I think one of the things that I, just looking at watching Leak play and watching him shoot, and this is young kids today, there are some really, really good shooters, but a lot of kids have an issue with shooting the ball flat. And what that means is they don't arc it up to where it's going to come down into the hole. They shoot it at the rim. And maybe they grew up that way or whatever. And that's certainly what Leak's doing right there. You got to shoot the ball up. You got to shoot the ball so it has a chance to come down into the basket. You don't shoot it at it. And we've always talked about, when we coach, we always talk about shoot it like you're shooting it out of a phone booth. Now that makes no sense to anybody anymore because there's no phone booths. but it was like that. You just want to shoot it so you're coming out of a phone booth. We used to stick brooms up in kids' faces so that they could shoot it over the broom.
Well, that's good. That makes sense now. And like you were saying, probably not a lot of kids get the phone booth analogy anymore.
You can't
the broom.
use that.
Just go with the broom. Just think about the broom as a quick foul is called, and Bomber will head to the line as he's had his struggles tonight. We'll see here. As we talked to Bomber, I'm trying to remember, I don't think he was our player of the game after the state championship, but we talked to him for the Varsity News show. And very excited. The last time we talked to him after the state championship is he's got a bright future in front of him. He makes his first.
Well, you know, a lot of things that I used to say, we used to always say, you know, shoot it out of a phone booth, keep your hand in the cookie jar, which meant to drop it in like you're reaching for the cookie jar out of the phone booth. And none of that stuff gets the kids anymore. Cookie jar, phone booth.
Hey, I still know the cookie jar. I know that.
Most of them are just getting it out of the package.
As that ball knocked out of bounds. Lynden bringing the pressure here. Leak inbounding the basketball. 1:01 left in the game. 6-point difference. Mount Vernon with the lead, 49-43. Quickly into Knapp. He's able to work it across half court. He's got a 2-on-1. Over to Weber. Cucci makes it count it. He'll head to the line with a chance at a 3-point play.
Mount Vernon couldn't ask for anything better, and Coach Roper and Lynden couldn't ask for anything worse. If you're going to foul him, don't let him make it. You don't want to hurt him, but you don't want him to get the shot off either. If you can't get to that, then just let him make it. 3-point plays are difficult to overcome.
And Weber Cucci puts the exclamation point on his 3-point play, as he has 11 points on the game after scoring none against Nooksack Valley, so he's getting a lot closer to that 15-point average. No basket. They're going to call a foul on Lynden. Everyone here was holding their breath as that ball was bouncing around, but the foul called on the Lions.
Jake DeWitt came in over the top of a Mount Vernon player. I thought it was a pretty good call, but it was also a great play, and I don't think I would have made the call if I was a ref. It was a pretty dang good play.
And the officials trying to get things straight here, as it will be foul shots for Mount Vernon. Both teams with 10 fouls. So It's at the line for 2 right now. 43 seconds left in the game. 52-43. Mount Vernon with the lead.
If this was a little closer game in this situation, I guarantee you, and there's probably, Knapp's probably a good foul shooter, but in that situation that we just had down there, I'll guarantee you the referees don't know who's shooting. So we used to always send up whoever the best foul shooter was.
Just have them walk to the line?
Just have them walk to the line and stand there like they were the shooter.
Now, would you tell them that beforehand, or is that something you talked about at the beginning of the year, and you just expect them to do that at that point as Knapp makes both of his?
We talked about that at the beginning of the year, and we always had a foul shooter designated. It was always the guy who shot our technicals. And I said, if you're in the play and it's close and they call a foul, you walk to the foul line. And I'll tell you what, coaches that coached against me that pay attention, they'd be screaming, he didn't get fouled, he didn't get fouled. And referees, sometimes kind of, but most of the time they don't know who's going to the line when there's a cluster up like that.
Well, it worked out with Knapp that time. He started running before his feet could move, ended up falling down, getting called for the travel, but it's an 11-point lead with 33 seconds left.
It's going to take a lot of three-point shots and a lot of missed foul shots for Lynden to win this.
They get it in quickly to Cito. Finally over to Varner. He's got a three-point look. Nails it. And timeout called by Lynden. So 54-46 with 28 seconds left to go.
Now, two things that that teams don't often realize. Yes, you have a 10-second count. You've got to get it over in 10 seconds. But there's no 5-second count in backcourt. So I can get the ball in and I can juke and juke and do whatever I want with the ball, and they can guard me tough, and I can just sit there and keep doing this for 9 seconds, call timeout,
and then and
then the 10-second clock, the 10 second starts again. Yeah. Yep. So if you get into trouble, you don't have to get over. I mean, there's no 5-second count. You have to get over midcourt in 10 seconds. That's the rule. But you can stand there for as long as you want, call timeout, and get a new 10-second.
And so if you're Lynden here, you're obviously fouling right away, correct?
I'd foul right away. You don't have enough time to try and defend till over half court. That's something you could have done with a minute and a half to go, but now you got to, if the ball gets in, you defend hard here, don't foul anybody, see if you can deny, and then if the ball gets in, foul right away.
28 seconds left. Remember to stay with us after, as we'll have our player of the game interview. Running out of options and 5 seconds called right before the timeout correction. They're going to say the timeout got in time, as the official closest to the Mount Vernon bench said it came in time. So they're going to award it to the Bulldogs.
There's going to be a little controversy there because they're going to say Roper, of course, is saying that it's the 5-second call came before timeout. And now the referees are going to huddle it up.
And Roper not a happy camper, but the official word is staying with timeout called by Mount Vernon.
I was actually watching the guys trying to get open, and Lynden was doing a tremendous job denying the inbounds pass. So I didn't see Coach Swanson call timeout, but I guarantee you that he's a good enough coach that he's got one of his assistants that they're just going to grab him at 3. So he knows that 3 seconds have gone on in case he doesn't have it. And when he gets grabbed, he's yelling timeout.
Screaming, as we saw earlier. It wasn't that loud, and he had to scream to get one in. So here we go, Mount Vernon with another chancer after the timeout. Leak with Cito guarding him. I wouldn't want Cito in my face. That is a big body to try to get around. Inbounds to Knapp, foul called with a little less than 2 seconds taken off the clock, and Knapp will trot down to take his shots. I guess our attention now sort of turns to, obviously Lynden could come back, be a long shot, but our player of the game, any early candidates? You have a vote here. What are you thinking for our player of the game?
Well, I think Chaplin's had an excellent all-around game. I don't know how many rebounds he's got, but I really like what he's done. Leak's done really well himself. And I like the way Weber Cucci just hung in there and kept playing hard. So
we have our primary candidates then. We have our primary field. The primary field is set. I will tell you my initial thought, and you made a very strong case for Chaplin, but my initial thought went to Leak, because I was thinking at the end of the third quarter when he had, especially the last shot of the third quarter, when he got that offensive rebound and scored right after, it just kind of seemed to stave off Lynden a little bit more. But he did make a very good point about Chaplin and Weber Cucci as well.
Well, I can go along with Leak. He's like I said before, he shows a little bit more pop in his legs than everybody else. I think he's in pretty darn good shape. Like right there.
Running out of time, here's Leak, and I think he just cemented it. He's got the lay-in, and he just earned himself the player of the game sweatshirt right there with that. 57-46, 10 seconds left in the game as Mount Vernon will pick up their first league win of the year as they hand the Lynden Lions their first loss of the year. Ken, it was great having you here. I hope we can do this again.
Well, I hope so too. I'm sure we can.
57-46 our final score. Mount Vernon wins it. We'll take a break. We'll come back with our player of the game interview. It's Kelsey Leak right after this break.
This is what you've been waiting for. The world of more is here from Comcast. The fastest fast internet. 50 Mbps download speeds. Faster HD movie downloads. Faster connection for gaming, music, and more. Comcast's new enhanced network, bringing you the best internet experience.
You know, when you're connected to a bank with 100 plus years of experience, the morning just seems a little bit brighter and a lot more relaxed. Banner Bank, connected since 1890.
Welcome back for the final time at Mount Vernon High School as the Bulldogs win it 57-46. Here with Kelsey Leak, our player of the game. Congratulations. Here's our player of the game sweatshirt. And you guys losing 2 close games. How big is it to come back and beat Lynden, an undefeated team?
Feels really good. I mean, definitely it's been hard with these close games.
First league win of the year, and speaking of momentum, you gave your team a little bit of that with those big offensive rebounds and scoring right after in the third quarter.
Yeah, I was just working hard at it, but you got to give credit to everyone else too. They're all working hard on the boards just as much as me, like Weber. He's been really good at defensive rebounding for us, and definitely Barnett, and it's definitely a whole team thing, and it was a lot of fun playing tonight. So.
You sound very optimistic about your team. Only the second league game of the year. What's kind of the feeling from you guys about what your potential is throughout the year?
Well, if we play to our potential, we'll definitely be pretty successful. We need to be really consistent with that as we keep going out. If we aren't consistent at all, then we definitely it doesn't look good for us. But if we keep this up, it should be looking pretty good. So.
Well, congratulations on a great game tonight, and best of luck the rest of the season.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, that's Kelsey Leak, our player of the game, as Mount Vernon wins it. For our entire Comcast On Demand crew, I'm Chris King. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.